It's an amazing day and the sky is calling, so let's go flying. We're on a twilight flight between Camarillo and the ocean, and like most summer evenings, the marine layer, this deck of low, thin clouds, is rolling in from the sea. The clouds may cover the airport soon and make it difficult to return, so I plan to be back before that happens. As is typical from May to August, by late afternoon, low clouds move in over the airport as they work their way inland. They'll burn off the next morning. It's like this near the coast from Baja to Northern California. Here's the marine layer hugging the coast from Santa Monica to Long Beach. In mid-August, monsoon season begins and cumulus clouds build over the distant mountains and deserts each afternoon. Often, there's rain and thunderstorms inland, but it rarely reaches the coast. I see this and think it would be a refreshing change to be out there in monsoon country. But since that weather's not coming here, we'll just have to go there. We're airborne and eastbound over the western end of the San Fernando Valley. We're headed due east to Big Bear on the far horizon, 80 miles away. Also on the horizon, monsoon clouds are building, and they're one of the reasons we're going to Big Bear today. With luck, where we're going, there might be some rain, thunder, and lightning. You see, I've been wanting a taste of something different than Camarillo's reliably mild coastal weather. It's nice that it keeps us cool in the summer, but frankly it gets dull. I've been watching the interesting stuff in the distance for a few weeks already, but today's the day we'll see it up close. 20 minutes out and we're high over Hollywood Burbank Airport. Until recently, it was called Bob Hope Airport, but too many people couldn't figure out where that is from the name. Never mind that it's not actually in Hollywood either, but that's okay, so long as the airlines can still find it. Speaking of finding things, here's our plan for finding Big Bear. From Camarillo, it's just straight east for an hour. Climb to 9,500 feet, keep the big mountains on the left and the city on the right, and then we're there. Piece of cake. We'll hang out at the airport for a while, enjoy the mountain air, and grab some lunch at the Barnstorm Cafe. Then, here's the other reason for this mission. I've been curious about what's in back of Big Bear. So when we depart, instead of going straight home, we'll head east so we can get a look at the backside of Big Bear. That is, the eastern and northern desert sides of these San Bernardino Mountains that we normally don't get to see. I hear there's lots of mines out there, including quarries that dig up rocks you can actually eat. We're halfway there now, near Pasadena and cruising along at 9,500 feet. At 75% horsepower, we're moving at 125 knots over the ground into a 10 or 15 knot headwind. That's a monsoon thing. The winds aren't usually out of the east like that. We've come up abeam the observatories on Mount Wilson, and below its flank is an empty Cogswell Reservoir undergoing sediment removal. Cogswell is part of the watershed of the San Gabriel River, which is coming up just ahead of us. The river, coming out of steep, rugged mountains into the city as it does, has been capable of doing horrific flood damage, and from here you can see all kinds of structures built to contain and calm its waters. Mount Baldy is the next in the chain of landmarks along this familiar route. Baldy and pretty much everything this side of the crest is part of the San Gabriel River watershed, and it's all just one giant funnel. Can you imagine what a good torrential rain can do here? This last stretch of the San Gabriels is the Cucamonga Wilderness. They say the word Cucamonga might mean sandy place or place of many springs or a half dozen other things. Nobody really knows. Jack Benny used the name in his bits because it just cracks people up.
Train leaving on track 5 for Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga.
It's raining over Hemet already. Monsoon clouds will continue to build over the mountains and deserts until late afternoon. Below, Interstate 15 runs through the Cajon Pass from the Inland Empire to the high desert in Las Vegas and beyond. Mount San Jacinto and Banning Pass are in the distance. If we continue through that pass, we'd find Palm Springs in the Salton Sea, and then Mexico's not much further. Arrowhead is just below our nose, and Big Bear's only a few minutes away. ForeFlight brings up the AWAS frequency when we're near. I tune in, and the computer-generated voice announces the airport conditions. Given our headwinds, I expected to land from the west, but AWAS says the wind is calm, so I've set up to land from the east as usual. We were last here 3 months ago in May when there was still plenty of snow on these peaks. Snow Summit ski runs are covered in grass now, and the resort becomes a bike park when the snow's gone. We landed a little while ago, and now I'm at the Barnstorm Cafe, having lunch and watching the afternoon clouds continue to build. A few minutes later, I stepped outside and noticed the wind was carrying a faint, sweet smell of wet earth. I also noticed this 1951 Ryan Navian on the ramp, looking especially cool with its polished skin reflecting the darkening sky. I thought that my iPhone's noir filter setting might be just the right thing for making some really interesting photos. In the meantime, I heard thunder in the distance, clearly getting closer, and I was excited to hear it. A few minutes later, and both the rain and this 1971 fixed-gear Cardinal arrived. The rain ended quickly, so I took advantage of the shiny pavement and clearing skies to take a few last shots before departing. We're back in the air and off to explore the unfamiliar backside of Big Bear. From here, you get a good idea of how large this plateau region is, and it's a bit surprising to learn that there's several more large basins up here besides this one. Just east of the airport, we see a second lake called Baldwin Lake. Right now it's wet, but that's intermittent, and it's been dry almost every time I've seen it before. Beyond these highlands, isolated showers are spread out over the Mojave Desert, and a rainstorm from earlier looks like it's moved northwest to Victorville in the distance. And it looks like we're starting to see the backside of Big Bear from here. These are the Santa Fe mines, a district of played-out gold and copper mines. All that white is limestone host rock from which the precious metals are extracted. A little west is the Mitsubishi cement plant and the Cushionberry mine where the limestone itself is mined for making cement. A great deal of the north slope of the San Bernardinos is limestone, and as we fly along we can see the bright scars of many different mines and quarries. The various types and purities of limestone have many uses, from cement, chalk, and building stone to medicine. Limestone is primarily calcium carbonate, and those rocks you can eat that I mentioned earlier? Some limestone mined in this area is pure calcium carbonate, which is the active ingredient in many of those antacid tablets that you chew to relieve your heartburn. To the north, another rain shower is over the Deadman Hills between Apple and Lucerne Valleys. Moving on, we're coming up on Lake Arrowhead. Off to the right, northeast of the lake, there's a restricted airport of the same name, but it's unpaved, private, and not convenient to the lake. Imagine how great it would be if Arrowhead had its own developed airport like Big Bear does. It looks like there's a good spot for one over on the right. Just a suggestion. The view is of the Inland Empire region with its largest city, Riverside, in the distance. So, if you've been wondering as I have, what river is Riverside besides anyway, it's the Santa Ana, the one that flows out of Big Bear Lake. We're back among the Cucamongas and the San Gabriels. Rancho Cucamonga's to the south, the Cucamonga Wilderness below, and we just passed Cucamonga Peak. Ah, Cucamonga, too much fun. I'm keeping an eye on that marine layer. It's covered Santa Monica Airport and LAX, but that doesn't mean that Camarillo is also. We're over Hollywood Burbank Airport again. Here at 8,500 feet, we can see pretty much all of Los Angeles proper, from the San Fernando Valley in the north to Long Beach in the south. But Camarillo's not quite visible yet. We're practically home, and this flight, like the monsoon, is over too soon. Our time is good. Though the marine layer's drifting in from the coast, Camarillo's still clear, so no problems landing there now. We got our summer storm, our flight to the unfamiliar backside of Big Bear, and a hamburger too. I'd say mission accomplished. Fort Flight says we're directly over Van Nuys Airport and making 157 knots. We're only 11 minutes from home. I'm about to get busy for the arrival phase of our flight, so with that, let me thank you for coming along, and I hope you enjoy the journey out to monsoon country as much as I have.
Could you help me, please?
Correction, please. The train scheduled to stop at Anaheim, Azusa, and Cucamonga will only go to Anaheim and Azusa. Cucamonga was moved to make room for the freeway.
Okay.